Hello everyone, this is Dr. Sakshi, Science and Maths Facilitator from Evolution Academy. So in this video, I will be starting up with the chemical reaction and equation chapter of class 10. This chapter is very important and is a foundation for the entire chemistry of class 10. I will be covering this chapter under the three parts. The first part will be the general introduction about the chemical reactions and equations. The second part would be the type of chemical reactions, including the balancing and the activities. The third part will include the redox reactions, the examples, rancidity and corrosion. To begin with, let us understand what is a chemical process and a physical process with the help of an example. For example, tearing of paper is a physical change, whereas the burning of paper is a chemical change. Another example, the chopping of vegetables is a physical change, but cooking of vegetable is a chemical change. Thus, what is a chemical change? The process in which a new substance with the new properties is formed is called as a chemical change. The substances which take part in a chemical process are called as the reactants, and those new substances which are formed as a result of the chemical reaction are called as the products. The second question: what are the characteristics of the chemical reaction? That is, how would we get to know that a given process is a chemical reaction? Here are few characteristics of the chemical reaction. Number 1, evolution of gas, which means that if during a process a gas is released, then it is considered as a chemical reaction. Number 2, change in color, which means that during a reaction, if there is a change in a color observed in a test tube, then it is a chemical process. Number 3, change in temperature, which means that if during a process the test tube becomes either hot or cold, then it is a chemical process. Number 4, formation of a precipitate. And number 5, the change in state. I will be explaining each one of them one by one with the help of an example. So let us come to the next question, that what are the different types of chemical reactions on the basis of change in temperature? So on the basis of change in temperature of the test tube, the chemical reactions can be exothermic or endothermic. That is, an exothermic reaction is a one in which heat is released out, whereas the endothermic reactions are those reactions in which the heat is absorbed. This means that during the exothermic reaction, the test tube will become hot, whereas during the endothermic reaction, the temperature of the test tube will decrease and the test tube will become cool. To give an example of the exothermic and endothermic reaction, let us understand how respiration is an exothermic process and how photosynthesis is an endothermic process. So this comes as a third question, that why respiration is an exothermic process and why photosynthesis is an endothermic process. During respiration, the heat energy is released out. Hence, it is an exothermic reaction. Whereas during photosynthesis, the heat is absorbed. Hence, it is an endothermic process. We will also support our answers with the equations. The next question: show with the help of an example or the equation that the color change is also a characteristic of a chemical reaction. Let us understand this with the help of an example. Now, if we place the iron nail in a blue colored solution of copper sulfate, the solution becomes green. Thus, it is a chemical change. If we support our answer with the equation, we will see that CuSO4, which is copper sulfate, when reacts with iron, which is Fe, then iron sulfate is formed, which is a green color solution, and the copper which is released out gets deposited on the iron nails. Thus, we see two changes during this process. Number one, the copper gets deposited on iron, and number two, the blue colored solution of copper sulfate becomes green color solution of iron sulfate. The next question. As I said that precipitation formation is also a characteristic of the chemical reaction. But we must know what is a precipitate. Let us understand with the help of an example. In this solution, as we can see that there is a solid product which separates out from the solution during a chemical reaction. This solid product is called as a precipitate, and the reaction in which the precipitate is formed is called as the precipitation reaction. For example, this is a reaction in which the barium chloride is reacting with sodium sulfate to give barium sulfate and sodium chloride. This barium sulfate is a white precipitate formed, hence it is an example of a chemical reaction. The next question. Give an example to show that during a chemical reaction, the gas can also be released. Let us understand this with the help of this activity. If the hydrogen chloride reacts with the zinc filling, then we see that the gas bubbles are evolved. And then comes the important question that name the gas that is formed and also give a confirmatory test of this gas. So this gas which is released when the metal reacts with an acid is the hydrogen gas. And the test for hydrogen gas is when we bring a burning candle near the gas bubbles, we hear the pop sound. Thus, it confirms that the gas bubbles are of hydrogen gas. So I have till now explained you the change in color, the formation of precipitate, and the formation of gas are few characteristics of the chemical reaction. Let us understand that if the change in state is taking place, then is it also a chemical change? Let us understand with the help of an example. The burning of candle. Now during the burning of candle, the physical process and the chemical process both takes place simultaneously. The melting of wax is a physical change, whereas the turning of wax into vapors, where a new substance called vapors are formed, is a chemical change.